Hey, EGP learners. Using social media to engage with your patients can be a really rewarding experience, both in terms of sharing information, but also building a community around your practice that can be really valued, particularly, for example, in our current health crisis. As a result of that, I know many practices have found real benefit from engaging with their practice populations. Alternately, you may be one of these GPs that are, like myself, wanting to create content to try and help educate other people, and as a result of that, using social media as a tool to help do that. But what do you do when you've got lots of accounts that you want to try and manage effectively? What do you do when you want to publish lots of content in a short period of time and so that it can drip feed? Automate it, make your life easier, batch it. Well, there are a variety of tools that can help you do this. I've tried a few over time, and the one I'm currently using is really working effectively. It's saving me time, as well as giving me some really cool functionality that means I can really supercharge the way I do my social media posting. And in this episode, I want to share that tool with you, show you why it works, show you a couple of the things about it that could be improved, and help you get started, and show you how you can supercharge it to use in primary care. I'm talking about a tool called Publer, and let's get started. So let's tech enhance your primary care and learning. So EGP learners, let's get started by showing you what Publer can do in order to help save you time in your practice. I will start out by saying there are other platforms you can use if you want to, and particularly if you're just using one social media platform in practice, you may find other options like Tweetcaster or Facebook itself as a good starter option for doing social media for your practice. However, if you want to supercharge the way that you're doing things and save yourself time, definitely consider a platform that allows you to do a lot more functionality like Publer. So this is the main website that you can see here, and as a result, it gives you a flavor of what the platform can do. One of the main reasons I like Publer is it allows you to post onto Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google My Business with the free account. So you don't actually have to pay any money at all in order to do this. However, I'm going to show you how to get amazing access to the full fat Publer right now for extremely low cost. We'll come to that later. It's important to note that the free plan only allows you to do 50 posts in scheduling, which should be enough for most practices, to be honest, but it doesn't allow you some of the higher up functions that are really going to save you time. Once you've created an account, this is what it will look like. Now, as you can see, I use this both for my practice as well as for my own social media platforms for EGP Learning. And you can see I've got all the various ones logged in here. When you do log in for the first time, it will ask you to link your social media accounts. And you can do this through the accounts section. As you can see, I've got various different ones there. And simply to add another one, just click on the add account and it gives you the options of the various different platforms that you can use. You can link up your Facebook page, Facebook groups. It's important to remember you have to be the administrator for this to work. You can add LinkedIn profiles or pages. You can add Twitter accounts and you can add Google My Business accounts. And if I'm being honest, this is the full suite of options that any practice may need to consider in terms of engaging with patients and as well as running as a practice. If you're a content creator, you may want access to other platforms like Instagram and Pinterest and YouTube. They're currently not available, but they are in the roadmap of the platform to be developed. In terms of linking your account, you simply just click the platform you want, put your username and password, and it links it up from there. I've linked up all my accounts. I'm afraid I don't have any more to show you, but it's dead easy to do. Once you've done that, I would then suggest you spend a little bit of time playing with the account settings for each platform. I'm going to show you what that means right now. So for example, if we click on my Wellspring Facebook page, it gives you a few options that you can consider using. The first one I would suggest having a look at is the posting schedule. So what this is that you can set specific times that when you add posts, that the system will automatically post at those times for you. This is really useful for doing batch content posting. So what this means is that you have an allocated person within the practice whose job it is effectively to post to the social media platforms that you have. But rather than doing this throughout the day and stuff like that, just give them, for example, an hour of time a week where they can load 6 or 7 posts quite easily within that time, and a lot more if you get better at it. And these can be drip fed over time automatically. But in order to do that, you need a posting schedule. If you're looking at this, I would generally recommend a couple of time frames that are useful. I would recommend you only post when the practice is actually open. And it tends to be better to either do first thing in the morning, lunchtime, or towards the end of the day, around about 6 o'clock is a really good one. And as you can see, for my automatic postings for the practice, we post every Tuesday and every Friday at 6 o'clock. It's important to remember different platforms have different times that are more optimal. So for example, LinkedIn, definitely lunchtime is the best time to post on. Twitter It can vary throughout the day, and you tend to have to post a lot more frequently on Twitter than you do on the other platforms. Some other features you may want to consider are things like the watermarks. So if you've got your own images that you want to add a watermark to on social media to prevent copyright issues and stuff, you can use that. And signatures, which basically it can allow you to add some text at the end of every single post. I tend to do this for some of my EGP learning posts. So my technology enhancing primary care slogan, I can add that automatically using a signature. The one I would suggest that practices in particular look at is the shortcode section. So what this is that these are small shortcodes that you can add into various posts when you need to basically expand on text options. Now, why is this useful? Well, it means that you can post replies and content to things that may have happened on your social media platforms, or add content that you don't really want to have to keep remembering to search and find for. So for example, I've got a shortcode for the website, and that will automatically expand when I post to put the website of my practice on. I've also got some for things like complaints, and it's basically stored content that you can use. The alternative is just simply have a web-based document that's saved that you can copy and paste from, or using a copy and paste tool within your browser that can help. But this is a quick and simple way of doing things. I'll show you when we're posting how this works. Once you've set up your accounts, you then need to know how to post. So let's go do that now. To create a post is really simple. The text entry that you've got here, you simply need to type. So for example, here's a quick post about signing up to the NHS app to save you time with prescriptions and appointments, and then you can put signposts into the website from there. I mentioned earlier about using shortcodes. So in order to use the shortcodes, you just need to use the 2 curly brackets. And then as you can see, it brings up the variety of different shortcodes that you may have. So this will bring up every shortcode for each individual account. So I've got some for my website for the practices, and I've also got some for my EGP learning ones. It's important to remember the codes that you've used. But for example, I'm going to put the website one on, and then that will automatically put in my practice website when the post goes out. You can add stuff like media. So you can add, for example, web links to various different pictures and stuff, or just add it from your computer or drag and drop into it. So that can be images and videos. And what I really like about this platform for video formats, it lets you upload up to 1 gigabyte size files, which is significant. That's approximately 20 minutes of footage. So I can't imagine there's many practices out there that are going to need more than that. I'm not going to load anything at this point, but it's dead easy to do. Before you can get access to some of the other features, you need to link which platform you want to post this to. So for example, let's link this to our Facebook page on Wellspring. And if you want, you can also add additional ones at the same time. So for example, I could link it to my Wellspring Twitter account. As you can see, 2 different platforms right there. When you do that, it brings up the option of separating out your posts if you need to. So I could post that as content to both platforms at the same time with the same details. If I wanted to tailor it to each platform, and particularly remembering with Twitter's content size of 280 characters, you may need to do that. Click on this little roadmap sign, and as a result of that, it separates out the posts and you can tailor them to whichever platform you need. You can tag in location, relevant to do for the practice-based stuff. You can add your signature, and then you've got these other functions, which are the things that really make this platform unique. So first, you can auto share to other platforms. Now, to be honest, if you're posting like this, you don't really need to do a huge amount of that, but it's a good way of sharing your social media accounts across areas if you needed to. What I really like is the follow-up content feature. So you can put a post and then you can set this so that a short while afterwards, you automatically put in a comment under the post. And when it comes to things like the algorithm use, that can be really effective. But also if you want to put additional links in after the effect, it can be really helpful to do this. And you can time that to whatever you want. So you can either not comment, or you can comment right away, or after a few minutes, and up to 7 days later. And it's dead easy to use. We don't want to do that right now, but as you can see, a really useful option. Additionally, you've got something called auto delete. So if you are posting on various different platforms and various different times, one of the things that may happen is that you clog up your feed effectively, particularly if you repeat some of the posts and stuff. And this is definitely the case for content creators. But even yourself, if, for example, you're promoting an event in the practice, like a maternity event or release of a new appointment system, that kind of stuff, you don't want all the old posts visible sometimes. And as a result of that, you can time it so they automatically delete the posts after a length of time. And again, you can either have don't delete, and you can set the time frames for whatever you like, up to 12 months, or you can just hide them instead if that's more relevant, so that the posts are still there on social media, but they're not visible. And from the metric perspective, that's definitely a better way of doing things. And additionally, you can put a delay in between the posts. So for example, if I'm posting to multiple platforms at the same time, you may not want it that it all goes out at the same time because it looks a little bit too automated at that point. You may do, depends what works for you. But for example, you can set it so that posts can be delayed by, for example, just a few minutes or a few hours if needs be. These are premium features that you will struggle to find on other accounts. And to be fair, the auto delete one, I've really struggled to find on any platforms really, apart from some of the really high end ones. You can preview what your posts look like. So it'll show you what it looks like on each platform before you actually send them out. And it even shows you the difference based on mobile and desktop platforms as well, which is quite cool. You can do multiple posts at the same time using the add post feature, bulk upload if need be, and transfer from CSVs. This is a more advanced feature, which I must admit I don't use myself even, but it's available if you are a significant content creator. You can also link into certain RSS feeds if you need to, and then import the various different posts from that. So for example, you can import the EGP Learning Podcast RSS feed if you want to, and share our content as needed, if you want to. But actually other places that can be quite useful is NHS Choices and NHS UK websites where you can import their data and share that automatically, as well as stuff from the health news media that you may want to share with your patients. The last feature that I feel really sets this platform apart is the schedule features. So when you try and schedule a post, you get 4 options. You can schedule it manually. So for example, you can schedule a particular time. So I can schedule this for Tuesday at 11:35, dead easy to do. And it's set and it's posted. And that's what I was talking about, that whole batch processing element of things. So you can set all your social media posts in a set period of time and not have to do it throughout the week or whatever. And this can be really useful if you're trying to do campaigns within your practice. So for example, cervical awareness weeks, immunization drives that you may have in the practice, or other kind of local based things, you can batch them quickly and effectively. Additionally, you can auto schedule. So what this means is you can just set the post, and then based on the auto schedule feature I showed you earlier, the system will just tell you when you want to do them. So for example, for each posting schedule, you have to give a name. I put mine as general because I've only got one for each platform. And then when you do that, you can set the time frame for how often you want them to go. And then by doing that, this will post it at the next available scheduled time for each of those platforms. So for example, we saw with the Facebook one, it was Tuesdays at 6 o'clock and Fridays at 6 o'clock. It'll automatically post them at the next available slot for me. A really cool feature is the recycle function. Again, this is a feature that you tend to see on real premium platforms, and using it can really save you time with your content amount that you're posting. So effectively, you put a post, preferably one that you would want to keep posting on a repeated basis. And by clicking that, you can select how often that posts. Now, if you've got other content going throughout your posting schedule, it won't post unless you choose it to. But for example, I could put a post about signing up to the NHS app to go out every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks or whatever I choose, and it will automatically do that to create content to engage my practice population or the people that are following me. It's important to remember the recycle function doesn't work with Twitter. Twitter's own rules prevent that from happening, but it does work with Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google My Business. The last one is a recurring posting. So again, you can post repeatedly in a set period of time. So for example, I can set a post to go out every Friday at 6 o'clock for the next 3 weeks if I wanted to, or I can even set it to go out every day at 6 o'clock for the next week or so, particularly if there's a significant change coming up, or for example, awareness about bank holiday change, or a change in the times of the practice for the couple of days beforehand. You can set that to go out repeatedly over the next few days. These are features that typically are not seen on other platforms unless, like I say, you have either the really high-end subscriptions, and to be honest, some of the really popular platforms don't even have some of these features. The system does give you some analytical information in terms of how your posts and everything are doing. I will be honest, the analytics aren't the greatest in terms of information, but they give you a flavor at least of the various different platforms and how your posts are functioning. You can have teams, so you can allocate additional people to use your accounts. However, it's important to remember that the free account doesn't allow that to happen. But if you're using this in practice, just have one account for the whole practice itself and share the login. If you wanted to maintain control, you can use other things like LastPass. So check out our video here that shows you how to do that, but it's a great feature. So that's the good. How could it be improved? Well, as I mentioned, for content creators, not having access to platforms like Instagram and YouTube, it'd be nice if that was available. That is in the roadmap, but it's not here yet. I did used to use a different system, and unfortunately, because of the current health crisis, they seem to have disappeared, which is why I've had to look for a new one, and that's where I found Publer. But one feature that platform had is that it had the ability to create content suggestions for me that I could then use, as well as it integrated with free media platforms like Pexels and Pixabay to give me stock images that I could use for free. Publer doesn't have that feature yet, but it does plan to have Canva integration in the coming months, as you can see by its current roadmap, as well as an existing media library, so effectively stock images that you can store and repeatedly use. Additionally, things like apps and that kind of stuff are part of the roadmap. So it is a platform that's still developing, I will be honest on that, but they've been around for about 3 years and they seem to be growing quite nicely, and the functionality is exceptional. So should you sign up? But what about the cost? Well, if we look at their plans, as I said, they do have a free plan option, and that does give you access to both Facebook, Twitter, and Google My Business platforms. That's rare to find. I'll be honest, I haven't found a free platform that allows you access to all three of those, and they are the three main platforms I would recommend practices at the very least to engage with. It does have a limit of 5 social accounts, not really relevant unless you're using it like myself for multiple different areas, but you can't have additional team members. That's important to remember. You only get 50 pending scheduled posts. That should be enough for most practices, if I'm being honest. But do remember that's per post. So if you're posting to multiple platforms at the same time, that's fine. If you split them into different posts, then that counts as 3 different posts. You can save drafts, but only stores your posting history for 24 hours. That can be a bit frustrating if you've got really good posts that you want to keep. That's a bit of an issue. The free option does also have the auto scheduling and the shortcodes options, but it doesn't have the signatures and the recycling and recurring post options. So that is a bit of a shame. And for those, you are going to have to pay a little bit of money. It's not horrific amounts. I'd say the Argentum platform is effectively good enough for most people. However, one thing I would like to say right now, if you are looking at using this right now, there is a way that you can get the full fat gold platform for really low cost for life. And this is what I've done. So many of you EGP learners will know that I tend to recommend pieces of software that are available on a platform called AppSumo. So this is a website that allows you to buy lifetime licenses for particular pieces of software for really cheap cost. And right now, Publer is available on AppSumo for the Aram Gold subscription level for only $39. That's about 36 quid for life. No monthly fees, nothing. I must admit, when I saw this, I couldn't believe it. I subscribed straight away and I haven't regretted it. You can have a look at the details. You can have a look at some of the reviews as well. They're pretty awesome. And they show that many people have transferred from other notable platforms like Buffer and Hootsuite over to this just because of the sheer functionality it offers at that level of cost. The other platforms like Buffer, Hootsuite, you'd typically be looking at paying £25 a month for this similar functionality. I will point out they do have some of that additional roadmap stuff available now. Definitely you're investing in a platform that's developing. I would really recommend considering this. If you are interested, consider using my affiliate link. So you'll see that popping up right now. All the links will be in the show notes. And by doing that, I do get a small amount as a commission at no extra cost to yourself. However, if you don't want to, just simply type in AppSumo, Publer, and it'll take you straight to the page. You can sign up from there. So should you use Publer? Well, if you're a practice that isn't using social media, no, but you really need to start using social media with your patients, and check out some of my other videos that explain why that's a really good thing for you to do. If you're a practice that only has access to one social media platform at the moment, and that might be the best option for yourself, then you may not get as much benefit from using Publer because it does allow you to post to multiple platforms quickly and effectively. However, some of the functions like the recurring and recycling of posts are things that you won't get through those individual platforms. And that in itself can be a massive time-saving opportunity. If you are running multiple social media profiles for your practice, definitely this is a tool I would suggest you consider. If you're also looking at content creation like myself, for whatever reason that may be, for health education or for your other businesses, then again, this is a really good platform to consider. Unless your focus is on Instagram and YouTube alone, in which case, as you can see right now, it's not a great tool for you to use. And I would definitely recommend signing up for the AppSumo deal. Having access to this level of functionality at that cost is an easy no-brainer. I don't know how long it's going to be available for. And you do get a 60-day money-back guarantee through AppSumo if you don't like it as well. If you do want more social media tips on how to use social media as a practice, make sure you check out this video right here that explains the various different platforms and how to use them, particularly why I think Google My Business is one that you should really consider. There's also going to be a playlist coming up that shows you how to do more of this kind of stuff. Definitely subscribe, leave me a comment if you want. And as always, EGP Learning is here to help save you and your patients time by tech enhancing your primary care and learning. Catch you next episode.